Welcome, Mr. Anil Markandya, Director of Basque Centre for Climate Change in Spain. We thank you for having accepted this interview. Sustainable development is often defined as development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their needs. The main point of interest, however, is how sustainable development is operationalized. A growing use of market-based instruments to internalize externalities in both developed and developing countries is an example of progress in sustainable development operationalization. What are some of the steps that need addressing in order to enhance sustainable development operationalization?
Well, I divide them broadly into three categories. One is, as you rightly say, to make use of the market system, which is at the heart of our economic structure and our social structure, to orient it and to make it use as a forceful good in terms of sustainable development. And to achieve that, we need to use market-based instruments. We need to make sure that the prices that people pay reflect the social costs. So that is one aspect. The other aspect is to make sure that we have the right values attached to the different goods and services. The use of these values is very important in terms of deriving the right instruments. And the last thing is to have the proper indicators which will monitor over time our progress towards sustainable development. And in this, we have a big role for natural capital accounting, for environmental accounting, and for other indicators of sustainable development.
Strategies for green growth are motivated by many of the same considerations that inspire the concept of sustainable development. How does green growth support or complement sustainable development?
Well, green growth is important. It makes two key emphases on the idea of sustainable development. One is that in the present level of development in many countries, the current level of well-being is not enough. Countries which are developing are just too poor to provide adequate living standards for people. So we have poverty and significant levels of poverty in these countries. And this can really only be eliminated by having growth. Now that kind of growth which we want to achieve that kind of elimination, we want it to be growth which is consistent with the principles of sustainable development, and that is what we call green growth. So that's a very important, if you like, emphasis in the idea of green growth, which is very important.
Could you please share with us some of the work or experience where this effort regarding the measurement of natural capital has brought significant impact in terms of policy, with a particular focus on the developing world?
Well, that's a little bit more difficult. We've been doing a lot of work now to try to estimate the loss of natural capital. We've been doing, including at UNEP and other centers, to seeing how certain activities are very much more costly than we think because of the damage that they do to natural capital. Now, to do that, we are using the ideas of sustainability and the ideas of natural capital and of environmental and accounting to enhance our understanding of these problems. So we begin to see, for example, to put more focus on certain areas of environmental degradation, and we begin to see that those areas need addressing because we have this information on the values and damages.
How can we build on these different individual pilot initiatives, including ProEcoServe, in moving towards a systematic natural accounting system of ecosystem services and natural capital?
Well, the ProEcoServe is a kind of bottom-up approach. We are looking at very specific ecosystems and countries, how they function, what values they provide in terms of services. Now, of course, the natural capital accounting needs to do this, but on a much bigger scale. We need to do it in the whole country. So there is a question of scaling up, and this process is now proceeding in two ways. One from the bottom up, but also we have some things which are happening from the top down, where we take some aggregate values And hopefully by taking both approaches, we will achieve the goal of having full natural capital accounting for developing countries.